just connect the dots however you can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Go left. So then that's basically our little tour of the old buildings, because I don't think there's any more. There were other like living conditions and stuff like that. I mean, they built a spaceship down around here, so people can laugh at me, but they were building, and some of the old Sea Org members and public will remember, they were building safe space, and people invested in it. Not me, but other people. They were building a spaceship, literally, to take off and go to another planet.
Oh, and like a homegrown project.
Thing. Yeah, a real thing. They were building a spaceship to take off. And then somebody put a nix on that, and they, I don't know, somebody got declared for it or something, and they canceled it.
What are you doing? That's not helping.
I know.
How does that bring in more money?
I know, exactly. It doesn't, so they canceled it, because I wasn't, but other people were investing. This is the street the old CC was on in the mirror. I met the Mirror Man right along here. He was always like walking up and down 8th Street here.
Can you explain what the Mirror Man did?
The Mirror Man was just this another one of these weirdo people that walked around and lived around here. I mean, the street looked a lot the same, and he would just walk up and down here talking into a mirror. And so we called him the Mirror Man, right? And he'd go into Denny's, which was right there on the corner, and it isn't in Denny's anymore, but that's the same restaurant. And he would go in there, sit down, and order talking into a mirror. And everybody just knew him as the Mirror Man. And there was a lady called the Fly Lady. Now you can go right here.
The Fly Lady.
The Fly Lady was always walking around swatting flies. And so finally one day I said, did the flies exist? No, there weren't any flies. And so I got it, and I was walking by her, and I said, you know, there's a lot of flies out today, aren't there? And she stopped and looked at me like, oh my God. Like, were you there? Were you in the incident? I mean, it was really weird.
Wow. Oh, like, did you saw the flies?
You saw the flies too?
And you know, it was validating her.
See, look at how filthy it is, and it was filthy like this back when we were there. It was just as dumpy. Only now the HGV is about this dumpy, and it used to be really snappy clean. Scientology used to be really into being clean because they'd have these. This was the funny thing. They had the staff, right, and the Sea Org, but then they had Flag, which were these guys that originally lived on the ship, right, out in the ocean. Everybody who used to be here will remember Langers, because a lot of these Scientology Langers. The old hood! It's so funny to see it. Here's the park. The park looks cool. They redid the park, so it looks pretty good. It would always look pretty, but it was just so many slimy people. But they'd always be out there doing the personality tests in the park and shit.
Oh, wow.
See, there were a lot of people around here. Then Hubbard said, no, let's move up to Hollywood. I know, they're out of money. They spent all the Sea Org reserves, Mark Headley told us. Anyway, there's still emotions connected to it, you can see. A lot of them.
Well, you go back to your past. You know,
I know, you just think of how young I was and how happy everybody was back then. And just how, you know, it turned out to be such a fraud. It's such a fucking bummer that Hubbard lied through his teeth, the scavenged, total creep. You know, that was the other thing. Oh yeah, we could go by the Palladium, and I could show you that, because that's where Hubbard was announced dead. All right, let's go left here, because this will be another thing for all the Scientologists. If anybody watches this, Tommy Burgers, we'd all come down there because they were open all night. All right, I'll go.
Hey, you just talked about the isolation.
Yeah, and you were isolated. All right, so now we're coming down Beverly to Tommy's Burgers, and it's still here. You just all come by here because they were open really late at night.
This is one crummy street, by the way.
I know, it is.
It's like...
And here's Tommy's. There you go, Tommy's for all the old guys. There you go. Woohoo! Used to come by there. There you go, Tommy's. Woo! All right, so we're continuing up to, I think the next one is Fountain. Yeah, go left on Fountain.
Okay.
Because that's the back end of the complex. So they moved from down in the hood up here bought bought the buildings on L. Ron Hubbard Way. It wasn't called that originally. Here's Wendy's. Old people that used to be here, they'll remember this street. This is the corner of Fountain and Vermont. And now we're coming up to the complex. On the left, I told you they used to have the kids locked in this little parking. Go slow here. Right here is where all the kids were. The Sea Org kids were in there. And over here, this is now the New Bridge Publications. It used to be something else. And this is the AO, who went from the hood to up to, here's the new AO thing. Now, you look at this and you see how, you go, wow, they really expanded. And they'll say that too. But the truth is, back then when we were in the hood and it was a dump, it was filled with people. Whereas now, if you look on L. Ron Hubbard Way, it's completely empty. I mean, go up the L. Ron Hubbard Way. Why did you go up it?
Sorry.
Anyway, we used to. If you look at how dumb that is, that's like disgusting. And Scientology hasn't fixed that. Looks like they're sort of fixing it, but it's taken forever. That used to be New York George's. Wow, they got people in front of it. That's how it used to look. Woohoo! They must have opened it square one. So they finally opened it up. Here's the horseshoe that you're not allowed in unless you're Sea Org, this is Sea Org out front. This is now the new snazzy, they say, the complex, right? And this is what's called the complex for people that don't know and they hear about the complex and they see the pickets. This is it. This is where it is. And for Scientology, they say, look at how fancy it is, look at how much we've expanded. And yes, it does look like they have. But the bottom line, the missing link in all of this is back in the hood, there were thousands of people, not, literally tons and tons of people on course, all around all those buildings, including ASHO. And now, look at it, it's dead, it's empty. And here's the advanced organization over here, which again used to be mob downtown where I showed you with people. Yeah, he said I had scent in my hair, get out. He threw me out. That's the Continental Liaison and Flag, where they get people going to Flag. This is AO, where it used to be filled with people going inside and out. And here it is. Yes, it looks snazzy, but who's there? Nobody. Nothing. And when we pick it there, they put blankets on the windows. Freedom? I don't think so. This is not my definition of freedom by any means. And you notice I'm not crying here. And I was here for a long time, but it was like a drag, it really was. It never returned to what it was like back in those old days, ever. Not ever. And they can say they're expanding, but basically they're not expanding. They killed all the missions. That's what brought in all the new people to go up here. Here's the big expansion, supposedly, but the missing link, like I said, is there's no people, right? Whereas downtown, and again, this is in the old days. In the old days, we were filled with people. They didn't have these big fancy signs and stuff, but there were people that flew in from all over the world to come to see artists, musicians, all this stuff. It was jumping. And now it's, it is what it is, but it's a lot less. Most of the major executives of Scientology have left. Most of the public have left. Most of the OTs have left. And, the people that FSM, which is get in new people, they've killed all the missions which brought in new people. So the only thing they have left is recycling the people that are quote-unquote OT that are in there, making them buy more and more and more. And that's it. We love you guys. Here's the tour.